Hello friends. Now let us take up the concept number 12, 9.12, constructors. Constructors are the standard initializer methods provided by Java. As you know, whenever we define instance variables or static variables in a class, we must initialize them with explicit values and then only we use. Before our explicit initialization, they are initialized by the default values. What are the default values? Default values are depending on the type of the variable. For all numerical types, the default value is 0. They are byte, short, int, long, float, and double. These are the numerical primitive types. For these numerical primitive types, the default value is 0. That means if you define int length and if you don't give any explicit value to that, it is initialized with the default value 0. Of course, small difference is there. If it is suppose float length, in such case the default value is 0.0. Double also the default value is 0.0. In case of byte, short, int and long, default value is 0. So until we initialize either instance variable or static variable with an explicit value, system initializes them with the default values, that all numerical types, 6 types, primitive types, default value is 0. As far as char is concerned, it is null character. Null character means nothing. And Boolean type is concerned, default value is false. Suppose if it is object reference, the default value is null character. Object reference means suppose string name you have defined, you didn't initialize that. That means you have defined only object reference, string type object reference. So until the value is assigned to that, this is initialized with null literal. Null literal is different, null character is different. Null character is nothing. Null reference, null, NUL in lowercase it prints. Understand the difference you have to identify. So if you don't give any values to instance variables or static variables, they are initialized with the default values depending on that type. That you must remember that. Actually, for initialization purpose, in the C model, what we have to do, let us take the same example, room, because this is our well-versed example. From the beginning we are using room. Length and breadth. Length and breadth as instance variables, and height as a static variable I have defined, and height I initialize with a 10. We have to think of length and breadth. In C model, what we do, actually one R1 object I have created, room R1, new room object I have created. Now actually for initializing purpose, I have defined one method called setData. SetData int L int B, and length is equal to L, breadth is equal to B. And after creation of room, now this is what type of method it is? It is instance method, because via instance means object we have to use. Now R1 dot set data 1512. As a result of that, what happens? 15 is assigned to L, 12 is assigned to B, intern L is assigned to length, and B is assigned to breadth. As a result of that, length is initialized with 15, breadth is initialized with 12. This is C model mechanism. Actually, if this initialization mechanism is understood to a programmer, they may behave as they like. That means I have given set data. Somebody may give input data. Somebody may give get data. Somebody may give initialization of data. Like that, whatever names they like, they give it. There is no standardization, but initialization is compulsory for every instance variable or static variable. After initialization with the explicit values only, normally we use. We don't depend on the default values. Default values are zeros. Instead of retaining garbage values like in C, it is giving some default values. But with zeros, what you do? We have to give explicit values. So this type of method we define and proceed. But for this purpose, for standardization purpose, Java very smart Java developed very smart mechanism. Don't give any name for initialization method. You call it as a constructor, and whatever is the name of the class in which you are defining the constructor, that name only you have to take, including case. Here room, R capital, remaining lowercase, mixed case. Same thing I have to use. And don't already I have used void return type. Don't use any return type, including void. So just instead of earlier void set data, what I have written? Room. Rest of the thing is same. So because of this standardization, you need not think of what name I have to give. It is so simplified. Any programmer on the earth who are developing constructor, he uses the same name. They don't have any choice. Whatever the name of the class, that name only is the constructor name. Understand? So entire mechanism is same. This is the way of standardization what Java provides us. Because of that, it is simplified. But remaining things are same. And one more thing also, here R1 set data, all that we are writing. You need not write. Then simply you give it here. 15, 12, you give it here. Then you see how much readable it is. Here simplified mechanism. Here also what you are calling constructor. Calling constructor means through constructor is nothing but initialization method. But don't call it as a constructor method. But you know that it is almost like a method. So now simply you are giving it. That means it passes to here, 12 passes to B, in turn it is initialized like this. So this is called constructor. Actually, before learning, now I have introduced about the constructor. Before that also, we called constructor like this and all that. Now it is nothing but constructor call. This is called calling a default constructor. Default constructor means if you don't give any argument, that is called default constructor. Always remember that if you don't give any arguments here, then that is called calling default constructor. Okay, you have called default constructor, but in our previous programs we didn't write this type of constructor. So how these default values are initialized, you may get it out. Okay, I told you if you don't give value, because of the calling of default constructor, instance variables are initialized with the default values. But you don't make previous programs, if you observe, in the name of constructors we didn't do anything. We didn't write any code. But system Java provides a invisible default constructor. If you want to see its definition, you can see that how it will be. This is the definition of system defined, system provided default constructor with reference to this program. Room length is equal to 0. Because why 0? Its type is int, so 0. Breadth is equal to 0. So in this manner, earlier, before understanding constructors, we, without our knowledge, we took the recourse of default system defined default constructor and we called it and used it without knowing about that. Now hereafter we use constructors explicitly, and in the next chapters I will much detailed way I explain about the constructor. And one more thing you must remember, there are various types of constructors to serve different purposes. So all that classification also we must learn thoroughly, because constructor is the basic mechanism. By using appropriate constructor depending on our problem domain, mm, we can get the expected result. Otherwise, a lot of confusion is created. So that point you remember, and time being you understand constructor this much, and then proceed in the for next chapters. You can learn more things about constructor. So after understanding the basic features of constructor, I will explain certain rules created for the sake of constructors. The first rule for writing constructor is constructor name should be always the name of the class in which the constructor is defined. That is the first rule. Okay. Second rule, constructor, even though it is initializer method, you should not have any no return type. You should not write any return type, including void. Void also you should not write. That is second rule. Number three. Number three, actually return statement also you should not write. Return this does not return anything. That's why return statement also you should not write. And technically, if you want a simple return statement, you may write, but it is unnecessary. It unnecessarily it creates confusion. That's why that's why you should not write that also. And one more thing, of course, for understanding this, you want deeper explanation. And however, don't worry about that. Whenever a constructor is called, now you see who is calling constructor. R1 is calling constructor. Otherwise, you understand that for the sake of R1, constructor is being called. So you can call it R1 is the boss of the constructor. R1 is the boss of the constructor. Now, in such case, boss is invisibly present here. Now R1 is calling it. So who is the boss of it? Who is the caller of R1? Caller of this constructor? That is R1. So R1 is present here. How? In the form of this. This is a keyword. Actually, this is a invisible reference. So if you it represents R1. Now R1 is calling. So this represents R1. Now after this, suppose R2 is created. You call R2 calls the constructor. R2 calls the constructor. Now this means R2. After that, R3 calls the constructor. That means this means R3. So always the calling object is present in the body of the constructor in the name of this. That point you have to understand. So this is like a mirror. Suppose if you are opposite to a mirror, you can find your reflection. Suppose your friend is opposite to a mirror, his reflection is seen. In the same way, R1 is calling constructor, this represents R1. R2 is calling constructor, this represents R2. R3 is calling constructor, this represents R3. Actually, understanding this is not so easy thing. However, in the next chapters, I will have a detailed explanation about this, and there are multiple benefits by using this, so that you can understand. Time being, as far as constructors are concerned, these rules you must understand, and you must implement in your coding.